Good morning, students. Hopefully you had a lovely weekend. The weather was amazing, but we're not here to talk about the weather. We're here to talk about your lessons. So today's lesson is on summary skills. Summary skills are, of course, incredibly important beyond the classroom. I can't tell you how many times I've been asked to summarize a meeting for somebody, right? Oh, Mr. Orlando, can you summarize that meeting? I missed it. Yeah, sure, whatever, and then you tell them the basic details. So being able to identify major important details and the purpose of something and then break it down into your own words is obviously incredibly useful. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to practice that. But before we practice it, we have two things. First, I'm going to hit you with your bingo number right away. Your bingo number is 27. So hopefully that helps out a few of you. Next, we're going to do a little test, actually. A lot of you said that you are watching these videos, like a huge, 80 or 90% of you said that you are watching every video, but that survey that I gave was not filled out by everyone. So I don't think it's really representative. I've been noticing a lot of things are turned in as if people aren't watching the videos. So we're going to do a little test. If you're watching this video right now, in the description on YouTube, there is a link to a Google form. On that form is a simple question asking you if you watched this video. Please go click on that and fill that out right now. Just all you have to do is click one button and just say, yes, I watched it. And that's it. You can only respond to it once, and you can only respond to it if you have an East Stroudsburg email. So this will let me know exactly how many 7th graders are seeing this video and watching it. Okay, so once you go do that, then you can come back here and continue with the lesson. Welcome back. Okay, so let's get started on this summary. Here we have a short passage. It's 3 paragraphs. I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to model how you should think about summarizing. Okay, so in short, summary is taking important points from a document and converting those important points into a shorter version. Usually you do this by identifying the main idea and then using a couple of details that support that main idea. So here we go. Timothy Hadley was a 14-year-old. As we... I'm going to restart that. Timothy Hadley was a 14-year-old. As we know, all 14-year-olds are exceedingly wise and know all that there is to know about. They can tell you the most important statistics related to the success of their favorite ball team, and usually they know a thing or two about girls as well, that they share in hushed voices outside the earshot of those very same girls. They know much and are quick to tell you what they know, but not how they know it or from whom they learned it. Indeed, they are just as likely to tell you that they came up with it all on their own, and that somehow justifies everything they just said. Timothy was very much one of these boys, but his knowledge was of a more technical nature. He could recite the specifications of his favorite sports car right down to the suggested tire pressure. He even knew that the rich leather seats smelled like, or so he thought. He was certain that they had a musk like a hay bale, but with the salty freshness of the sea. Naturally, he had neither been to the sea nor had he baled hay. Wherever he got the impression that he could somehow know the scent of a real high-quality leather interior was unknown, but he was certain that he knew it. Okay, so that is the passage. So we have to first identify the point of this passage. Is it to persuade, inform? Is he arguing something? Is he trying to entertain? So when I read this, I have my ideas of what this is for, but I want you to do this as well. So first, what you're going to do is say, what is the point? And you're going to identify whether it's to inform, entertain, or persuade. Okay. And then you are going to find some details and maybe put it in your own words, kind of shrink some of those ideas a little bit. Okay, so you can take a second to try this now to write your own summary. Try to write a 2 to 3 sentence summary of this passage. Okay, and when you do so, make sure you're identifying what the main idea is. Once you've done that, you can unpause the video and see how I break it down. All right. And welcome back. So let's get started on this. When I read this, it does seem very informative. They're talking a lot about, the things that 14-year-old boys do. And it tells us, somebody's age. So Timothy Hadley was a 14-year-old. But there's something about the way that this is written that tells me that this isn't just informative. The author seems to make a little bit of an effort to be a little funny, right? He says they usually know a thing or two about girls as well, that they share in hushed voices outside the earshot of those very same girls. That's an example of irony, and irony is kind of funny, right? You'd think if the boys did know a lot about girls that they would actually be going and talking to them, but they're not. They're just gossiping, right? So that's a little funny. And here, he also has a little bit of a line that's kind of funny. Indeed, they are just as likely to tell you that they came up with it all on their own, and that somehow justifies everything they just said. So poking fun at the confidence of young boys, right? This is all very funny. And if something's funny, it's probably not purely informative. It probably is made to entertain. So what is the point? I'm going to say to entertain. I apologize for blowing out your eardrums. All right, what are the details that the author uses to support that point? So obviously it's to entertain, but we should be a little bit more specific. In my own words, right, the author's sort of purpose here is to, there we go, write an entertaining passage about the overconfidence of young boys, specifically Timothy Hadley. So what are some details the author used to support that point? Well, basically the whole passage could be examples of those details, but I'm going to pick two. The first one is just a general point, and then the second one is one specifically about Timothy. So the first one is the line about the girls. I think that's an important line because it is kind of funny and ironic, and it sets up the rest of the passage. So what are some details they know about girls but are afraid to talk to them? And then number two is about Timothy's confidence on what the leather smells like. And Timothy thinks he knows what the leather smells like, but he hasn't smelled anything like it before. So now how do I put this into my own words? I would just take those points that I made and put them all together. This is my summary. Timothy Hadley is a 14-year-old who is overconfident. Like other boys, he thinks he knows everything, even about girls that he's afraid to talk to. He also thinks he knows everything about his favorite car, but can't tell you how he knows it. And I think that does a decent job of summarizing. Excuse me, my lips aren't moving properly today. That tells him everything that tells us everything that we need to know about him. And that is how I would summarize this passage. I break down these 3 points, right? What is the point, right? Figure out whether it's to entertain, and then write down that main point. And then what are the details that the author uses? You may have noticed that I only picked 2 details. There's not a specific number. It could be 2, could be 5, however many you need to get across the point. I thought it was important to say that both the boys and Timothy were 2 separate things, but that they were similar, that he was like other boys. So that's how you summarize. Hopefully this helps you out in your lesson, and I wish you good luck on this next passage.